My name's Kate, and I'm going to Kosovo. I'm going because I want to be away, and I'm going because I want to be a part of what my mom was a part of.
Kate Oya has come to Kosovo from Vancouver for 5 months to live with her mother, Carolyn McCool. Carolyn is part of a huge international peace-building mission.
People who were killed by the Serbs. We just passed a monument to Albanian martyrs, people who died during the war.
I have been a lawyer since the late 1970s. I'm more interested in the places on the edges of society rather than in the center. I had the sense after I'd been here for several weeks, maybe a couple of months, that I was falling in love, and it wasn't with a person at that point in time. And I realized it was with Kosovo. Even now, many people are still recoiling from the horror of what's happened to them. So people need people to help get out of this nightmare. I'm the Director of Democratization for the OSCE in Kosovo, based here in Pristina. The Canadians who work for the OSCE mission in Kosovo are funded by CEDA, the Canadian International Development Agency. You know, sometimes people criticize democratization officers as being people who just sit around and drink coffee with people all day long. I think it's really important to drink coffee with people.
We somehow have to try and get beyond the point where we just pacify the country by military control and dare again to try and bring people together.
Or in
The OSCE helps war-torn places like Kosovo stabilize. Carolyn is head of the department in charge of building democracy.
But to actually say whether or not the quality of democracy here is good, bad, or medium, I don't know that we'll ever be able to say that. It's just going to be Kosovo.
You go up this stairs, and that's like... It's exciting for me to come here. Everyone's like, oh, you're Carolyn McCool's daughter. She's such a great lady. I'm like, yeah, I've heard she's a really great lady. Like, she's a great mom, but apparently she's a great worker, too.
Why don't we have a meeting?
But we do have something to celebrate. The beginning of a campaign that will lead to the first ever democratic Kosovo elections.
After years of bloodshed, and before that, communist rule, Kosovo is holding its first free central election. Polling day is in 6 weeks.
It is a matter of fact that an election in a post-conflict society is an all-consuming animal. It's a machine that gathers momentum and it gathers everything in its path and rolls on and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger.
The LDK is the largest Kosovo Albanian party. After the election, the UN will begin to transfer its powers to Kosovo's newly elected assembly.
Edhe në këtë miting, kërkojmë që të gjithë ne, qytetarët e Kosovës, grupet politike, të tregojmë pjekuri, të marrim zgjedhjet e mira, të qeta.
Kosovo Albanians are in, while the Serbs are threatening to boycott the election. Kosovo's first central election is an historic opportunity to ease ethnic conflict. But this is only possible if all of Kosovo's ethnic communities participate. It is Carolyn McCool's job to help make this happen.
I knew I had wanted to do international work for some time, but I didn't feel that I could until the kids were a little bit older. Nick was 16 and Kate was 18 when I left. And I think I was, in a sense, selfish, but I knew that if I didn't take this first offer, I wouldn't get another one for years, and maybe never. For me, the hardest thing about being in Kosovo has been the separation from my kids. And it's just an enormous pleasure for Kate to be here with me for a few months.
We just moved into our new apartment, and it's pretty nice. My friend Ron from Vancouver is here right now for a couple months, and it's nice to have someone from home here. When I left, I was like, oh my God. I was a wreck for a month. I had no friends here, and I really just wanted to go home. I have friends here now. I don't really feel lonely anymore. White or dark? White?
You want dark. You want white?
Yeah. No. I feel really good about having gone out and done all this stuff by myself, like made friends and gotten a job. Enjoy your ice cream. So this is to Jakova. The posters in the jingle go tomorrow morning. I'm working for the election, mainly through a traveling roadshow. And if they write anything else on the ballot form, it might invalidate their vote. We have Albanian actors who do a few sketches. It basically consists of a flatbed truck that turns into a stage. Then after that, it turns into an open-air disco. I remember coming home on the bus and being really euphoric. I think that people in the village will remember the roadshow for a long time.
Mike India 0, this is Hotel 02, over.
Hotel 02, this is Mike India 0, send over.
02.
Azra is, I think she's 23. I work with her at Media Action. We're gonna go visit her in Mitrovica.
Since the war, Mitrovica has become a symbol for ethnic division within Kosovo. The Ibar River separates Albanians from Serbs. Extremists on both sides prevent peaceful coexistence.
Azra's family is one of many Albanian families that was expelled from the north of Mitrovica by Serbs.
And I was just passing by the apartment where I used to live.
Have you met the people that are living in that apartment?
Yes, I met, but I almost got beaten or killed, you know, so I will not try going again there. No.
I don't suppose they're paying you rent.
Of course not. We are so generous and kind, and we're not taking any money.
Live in our apartment.
Yeah, please do it.
No stress.
Yeah. This is the north. The apartment in the north. This as well.
So you don't have the stress anymore?
No.
People don't talk about the war that much, but sometimes when you get to know people, they'll mention like, oh yeah, I used to have this really nice pair of shoes, and sometimes I think, oh yeah, I'll wear those shoes tonight, and then I remember that, you know, the Serbs burned them during the war and I don't have them anymore. And it shocks me because I forget that it's something that everyone's been through here. There's so many stories that you can't see anymore just because everything's been blown up. It's quite shocking to live in a place where there's so much evidence of violence and also, I guess, potential for violence. I've never been in a place with that many guns, and they're just there all the time. There's always someone standing next to you with a machine gun. But in a way, you'd never really get used to it.
Okay, how long does the meeting go? Can you ask her to phone Carolyn? I'm one of those foreigners who came to Kosovo because of what happened to the Albanian people. But at the same time, one of the reasons that I've felt driven to stay in Kosovo is because of what's happened to the Serb people since the entry of NATO into Kosovo in the summer of 1999.
Now, this is a checkpoint. So we're near a Serb village now, I think.
There is a clear effort on behalf of many Albanian people to drive Serb people out of Kosovo. We sort of came in to help the oppressed people, and we remain to help the oppressed people, but the oppressed people have changed. All this is very emotional, you know, because of the savagery with which people have treated each other here.
Albanians and Serbs in Kosovo live separately. In much of Kosovo, Serbs live in enclaves that are closely guarded by KFOR soldiers.
They have no freedom of movement. They're still killed in the streets and the fields of Kosovo by the Albanian people. It's really, I think, questionable whether or not free and fair elections can be held in a society in which one of the dominant ethnic communities, one of the major ethnic communities, has no freedom of movement without risk to life and limb. In Canada, we would think this was absurd.
It's 4 weeks before the election. The OSCE is holding a landmark reconciliation meeting. Both Kosovo Albanian and Serb senior politicians will be at the same table.
Okay, listen, I'm telling you now what the story is. TV cameras and stills photographers. It's at 9:30, the photo opportunity, okay?
It's one of the most important meetings that we've ever hosted here at OSCE. It was done with an American organization called the Project on Ethnic Relations. So what we're doing is we're asking the Serb people to participate in this election in spite of the fact that standards are not in place that will allow us to run an election which is free and fair.
And in Romania,
the discussion was very, very difficult at times. We still do not know whether the Serb people will participate in the election.
Come sit at the table. We will discuss our days. How do you get good at reconciliation? You know?
It's a very difficult question.
That's like mediating type thing? Like it's helping people make friends?
Reconciliation is more than that. It's facilitating dialogue. Just helping people to learn how to talk to each other at all.
Mm-hmm.
At one end of the scale. At another end of the scale, it's probably helping people to learn how to say I'm sorry to each other. We're nowhere near that in Kosovo.
So it's partly being smart, but also being like a really easy to talk to person?
Mm-hmm.
Could I do it?
And highly sophisticated politically, yes, you would.
Except for that sophistication part.
Yeah, you get that. You're only 20.
You could do it.
I do it. So maybe I can just ask people what they think.
Carolyn's greatest challenge at the OSCE is to help the different ethnic communities work together.
In the last meeting. But what would be the reason for doing this? What would be the goals?
We are very much interested to make impact in a way to make sure the process will be a democratic one.
What about minority communities? What about Serb people, and what about, I know this is sensitive.
I suppose all we agree that that is a major issue.
Right.
Interethnic relations.
It's at the center of Kosovo,
yes.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's something which will define the future of Kosovo.
I mean, you guys have to make a decision about what kind of diversity of people you want to represent. And I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not do, because it's not my country, right? So what we come to do is to build a sense of confidence and of trust and say, okay, we've done it a certain way in Canada. This is how we do it. And you guys figure it out. But I'm here to help you blaze a trail. And then Kosovo will, stabilize, it will recover its sanity.
Është respekt për të kaluarin tonë të lavdishme. Është respekt për punën e tanishme. Është përcaktim I qartë për të ardhmen tonë të sigurt. Me Kosovën si tërësi, jo me qytetën ndarë të Mitrovicës dhe jo me enklave.
Of course, the leaders all talk about tolerance and the building of a multi-ethnic society. People need to realize that rhetoric in the Balkans is a high art form. The reality is that Kosovo is not yet a tolerant society at all. It just isn't.
It's 3 weeks before the election.
No, I don't know. I don't understand why this hasn't been discussed at the OSCE meetings. The OSCE, who are more paranoid than we are about doing it in Serb areas.
Just to organize our first roadshow in a Serb area was totally complicated. Everyone feared the worst about what could happen. Like, people could get really upset because the Serbs aren't always that welcoming to OSCE or anything to do with the elections. We don't give any message about voting. It's basically like a party. Most kids were just ripping up the stickers and spitting on them and stomping on them. It was quite different from the Albanian shows. The best part about working on the Serb roadshows was meeting the two guys we got to MC. They're both named Surgeon. We're into the same stuff. We hear the same DJs in Belgrade and Vancouver. They live in Gračanica, which is a Serb enclave. And they live in two very small, cute houses right next to each other. This is Surgeon's house.
Oh. Okay. Hop in. Yeah.
It's like from some TV show or something, like American sitcom. Surgeon and Surgeon. But they're really cute. I like them. They both work at the UN in Pristina in media. They get shuttled in every morning by a UN van.
The reality is that we are living in the so-called enclave. We're staying here in a way against our will. A number of our friends disappeared in Pristina, got killed, kidnapped.
When your life is hanging on a tiny rope, what you're realizing that you're most happy when your head is still on your shoulder.
The risk, if the Serb people do not vote, is that they will be excluded from public life. Their situation physically, with respect to freedom of movement, security, will continue to deteriorate. We sometimes say the boat is leaving the harbor, the train is leaving the station, and if they don't get on that train or that boat now, the danger is extremely high that they will be left off of it for the foreseeable future. This is not
The Serbs remain undecided about participating in the election.
It's, I think, part of the old Balkans communist mentality that they're waiting, in a sense, for permission to do that from their leaders and the highest authorities in Belgrade. They haven't yet realized that they can organize themselves.
Going to Belgrade.
Have you got a ride?
Yeah, well, I'm going with Surgeon and Tanya and Surgeon.
But you don't have an entry stamp.
But they don't check when you go from the border. When you go from Mitrovica on the bus.
Oh, you're going on the bus?
Yeah.
Now, your Alcatel phone will not work in Belgrade.
I know.
Well, I need a Mobtel number I can reach you at.
Mm-hmm.
Stay safe, sweetheart.
I will.
I love you.
Adios. This is the Federal Assembly?
Yes, this is the Federal Assembly.
Belgrade, the capital of Serbia and former Yugoslavia, is the center of Serb power. The Albanians don't want any Belgrade influence over Kosovo. The Serbs look to Belgrade for leadership, including whether or not to take part in the election.
It's always very difficult to come into a society at the end of a war or a conflict and figure out what you're supposed to do. There's a tendency for an international mission to drift into sort of colonialism or imperialism and assume that we can just impose certain Western values.
Here, probably we have to pretty much redefine or to define in a much finer way what we understand about democracy.
Well, what is democracy?
Well, now we have a hard time coming up with an answer.
The more I have my doubts on how we are behaving here, the internationals. I have more and more the feeling that we are arrogant as we are, and we don't respect enough the system of the Kosovo Albanians or Kosovo Serbs. And
A great number of the international community are regarded as incredibly opportunist, foolish, misguided, contemptuous, racist by the ethnic communities of Kosovo, and in many cases they're right. We need to smoke for 2 minutes.
Really, I don't want anyone going anywhere.
There are very senior people in this mission who are caught in this trap of contempt for the people that we work with. And I think that partly it's because they're tired. You know, they're tired, and there's no mechanism in this mission for catching that kind of mistake.
People get addicted to their lives here. That's why they go from mission to mission. Like, there's people that were in Bosnia and Croatia, and now they're here, and like they haven't been home to work in a decade. They just feed off this crisis, which is a little bit perverse. I don't think in my mom. I don't really think my mom's perverse.
Hi, is that Alushgashi? It's Carolyn McCool at OSCE. Very well, how are you? The question of a personal life in Kosovo is, there's no difference, in a sense, between professional and personal. This is a place where all the boundaries merge. It's all one thing here, you know, it's all one nest. Public, private, political, emotional. Come on in. How are you, Sniff Sniff?
Fine.
Good.
My cold's getting better.
Good. Ritual cough. Have a seat. Do it on the camera.
No.
Kate and I don't often get together. She's 20 and I'm 55. But I think we've developed a real closeness here in Kosovo, whether we're together or not. And the reality is that she knows that I'm here. And I know that she's here.
Bara slå ihop till sillopa.
Meeting the surgeons has actually been good for me. It's been nice to make new friends that I feel really comfortable with. We went over to have a little party at Shane's house, who works at the UN in Pristina. We realized that we didn't have a corkscrew to open the wine. The surgeon got sent out into the apartment building looking for a corkscrew. As a Serb guy in a building full of Albanian residents, he couldn't ask them in Serbian.
For me, it's easy to walk around the Pristina. I cannot always pretend, and that's what I do. I pretend as a foreigner. I don't speak Serbian out on the street, but for average Serb who doesn't speak English, he cannot go to Pristina.
It is moving.
You were talking to Albanian?
Of course!
Kosovo is just full of nationalism. After 2.5 years of trying to make people think that this should be a multi-ethnic society, multicultural, blah, 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 it's full of nationalism. There are a lot of people who hate each other.
I still started to say, have to recover my mind.
We can do one in practice and do it again.
A lot of things were done here and a lot of people are dead and missing. I'm not a person that thinks that Kosovo should be a multi-ethnic country because it cannot. The Serbs think that Serbia one day will come back here. No. But they have to accept the fact that they will start and they will live in new country.
We're stalled a bit because the coalition return hasn't yet declared itself as being in.
The Coalition Return is the political party representing Kosovo Serbs.
And if they say vote, that's it. 150,000 Serbs are going to vote. We're getting down to the wire now. We still do not know whether the Serb people will participate in the election. I mean, this is the only way that they can advocate for themselves over the course of the next 3 years. And if they don't do it now, I'm very, very worried that we will have passed a point of no return for them in Kosovo. I think we're into the physics of a point of no return. There will be Roma and other vulnerable people, some of them the minority members of
Kosovo is multi-ethnic. Today, the OSCE is taking its election message to the Egyptian community.
You must remember that those politicians, whether they look very nice on the posters, they are not your masters. They are rather your servants.
We have the Roma, the Ashkali, and the Egyptian communities. And they have been mistreated in Europe for hundreds of years. And I'm ashamed to say that that continues in Kosovo today under international rule.
The power's out right now. Power's been doing a kind of 3-hour on, 3-hour off thing. We're gonna have eggs.
We gotta cook them all.
Mom, do you know how long this is gonna take?
No longer than to do 2, Katie. It's the same volume, virtually the same volume.
Yeah, but on this thing. No, it's way more water.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Living in a post-conflict society, one of the biggest things is that there obviously once was an infrastructure. That makes it that much more frustrating because you're so close and yet you can't get a dial tone or you can't turn your lights on.
We are more than 2 years into this mission, and there's still serious power and water outages. The reality is that the political parties in Kosovo, whether they're Serb or Albanian or anything else, are obsessed with the self-interest of their own ethnic communities. None of them have a vision of the public interest in Kosovo, which is, we're gonna get the bloody electricity system working. We're gonna have water in every house. We're gonna have, the garbage off of the streets in 6 months. The international community hasn't been able to do it, so we're gonna do it. The 3 main Albanian political parties are virtually indistinguishable on an ideological basis. They all seek the independence of Kosovo.
Për garancë ekonomike, ne angazhohemi për pavarësinë e Kosovës. Jemi të vendosur në këtë rrugë dhe kjo rrugë është e jona.
It's just 2 weeks before voting day. Belgrade has finally made a decision.
Koštunica went on television last night at 1:30 in the morning and told Serbs to vote in the November election. Sorry, I'm crying. I cry all the time in public. It just means so much to me. I can't believe it. Over 2 years in this mission, and we're finally getting something right. It's wonderful. It's really, I have this sense that it's a real moment in history, It's a real moment in history for the Balkans. We need to get these guys to give notice from Belgrade, and we can actually start talking about things like candidate list and TV spots. And now we're in business. We're going to do an election. We're going to do an election with the Serbs. I can't believe it. We respected any decision that you might have made.
It's the OSCE's first working meeting with Serb community leaders since Belgrade's decision.
The Serb people have made a decision which really requires them to make a great leap of faith. And the onus is now on the international community, as well as all of the peoples of Kosovo, to make this work. I do not speak for myself alone when I say that we take this as a huge responsibility now.
The election is a week from today. The coalition return, the only party representing Kosovo Serbs, is holding a public meeting in Gračanica. Despite Belgrade's decision, the election is proving to be a tough sell.
Da glasam teroristu koji me jusio bio i u Staro Grafsko i šta je napravljeno pred njim? Pred očima se dešava to. Čuti još taj koji se generacije smenjuju od tvora i ovo. Dajte oružje Srbima, Šiptarima nikad.
Pritiskalo kao deo onog naroda koji je podržavao prethodni režim, a koji prethodni režim koji je u međunarodnoj zajednici bio ocrnjen i neprihvatljiv. To smo prošli i opstali smo. Sad idemo dalje, malo više optimizma. Ja kažem, teško je to posle svega ovoga, ali morate verovati u to. Bez vere u sebe i sopstvene mogućnosti, bez vere u sopstvenu državu, nema nama mnogo nade za buduće.
Across the street, a crowd of Serbs from the enclave has gathered. They reject the election.
Nikako
ćemo preživimo. Kakva je demokratija u današnjem svetu? Najsavremeniji začin.
The situation in Kosovo is tense and will continue to be tense. Of course, we're all very concerned that the Serbs will be very divided on polling day. In order for it to be free and fair, people have to be free.
Two days ago, there was a meeting between local leaders and the guys that are representing at least 60 to 70% of the Kosovo Serb populations, and they clearly stated that they're not going to participate, they're going to boycott the elections.
It's the countdown to the election. 2,000 election observers are arriving in OSCE buses from 2 weeks of training in Greece. They come from all over the world.
The press briefings start in this room as of noon up until the elections.
What provisions have you made at polling stations to make sure that there will be power there?
We have more than 1,600 polling stations in Kosovo. We cannot supply each one with a generator. We do have contingency measures. We will have lanterns and power bar lights.
Living in so much cold, like I've never craved heat so much.
This water is freezing.
My mom kind of jokes about how I should start paying rent in Gračanica because I've been sort of living there recently. Why is the water freezing?
That's why. We have no electricity for about a week in the past.
A week?
A week.
Hearing their stories makes you realize that everyone went through the same war.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry because Albanians had a bad experience as well.
Yeah, sure.
So did we. So you're just trying to move on because for this whole thing for us it is a new beginning. So that's what I say, when you're making a new beginning, make a proper beginning.
Yeah, no, it's right on the road. It's election eve, so no, everything's ready. It's a remarkably calm.
A tremendous effort has gone into this. You have had enormous odds. Will impress Kosovo. The people will be grateful to you for delivering them the best test of democracy.
There's something in the air on election day, eh? I mean, I feel like this is Christmas Eve.
It is.
You know, this is Christmas Eve.
It's very exciting.
Or New Year's Eve.
It's all we've been doing for 8 months.
I know, and tomorrow's the big day. A mess.
I have never been as energetic, as dedicated, and in a sense vibrant as I am now. I've never been as tired as I am now either. I'm so tired I don't know how to relax.
Okay, so tell me what you guys just did.
Just vote.
We vote and we vote.
This was our democratic and civic duty. And right.
And now we're gonna hitchhike to get to work.
Yes.
I'm on my way to Prizren. The deputy head of mission has sent me south today.
I da se vratimo onda da damo pravo.
Da verujete, da verujete.
To je demokratija. Recimo, to je demokratija.
What kind of car is that? I just came to see how it was going in Prizren today. Just the turnout, the vote. Are a lot of people coming?
Po parafërsisht 60% që qytetarit
60%.
60%. Very good. Very good. It's going very well here too. It's very, very well organized. It's an excellent election, it looks like, from a technical point of view.
We have in the predominantly Kosovo Albanian areas by 3 o'clock a turnout of about 50%. Kosovo Serb areas, it is currently at around 18%.
Well, we're lucky today because we've had electricity all day. It's a special agreement with the United Nations. They've somehow kept the power plant running all day.
One more Kosovo Serb turnout has picked up dramatically in the course of the day. We have a percentage turnout of 46%.
Great. Give me a call. Yeah, if you want to come to test for a weekend, let me know.
As you can see, on the basis of the partial results, we have the LDK 46%. VDK coming in as the second party with 25%. The Coalitia Povratak, KP, has obtained 11%. The AAK obtained 8% of the vote.
One of the very startling things about this election is that the Serb political entity is now the third party in Kosovo. For the Serb people in such numbers to have said that they will join democratic life in Kosovo, I'm still feeling the sort of shockwave as it moved through the building.
A year ago, this was impossible.
Yeah, I mean,
it's incredible.
Even now, something happened that nobody expected that it will happen like that. Even not Serbs, not nobody.
As long as there is dialogue between Serbs and Albanians, there are some chances that things in Kosovo start to develop like normally.
Congratulations, I mean, I see two members of the new parliament.
Yes, I see your letter.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that you are satisfied with all the democratic process in Kosovo.
Well, we are. Are you?
Yes, I am.
It's a great moment in this mission. It's just a great moment in this mission. Now, it's where we go from here is still to be seen. We have walked through one door into a corridor where various doors face us on the other side, and it is not clear at all what room we will wind up in after the Central Assembly is sworn in. It is a very fragile and highly uncertain environment that we're traveling through. I'm supposed to be packing right now, as you can see, but I'm almost done. These are my bags. I'm trying to figure out how to say what I learned about you, Kate. think one of the things is that you're incredibly resilient and capable and able to do all kinds of different things that are actually quite hard to do.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know about that resilient part.
Do you feel different?
Yeah.
So do I. When you're sitting in a coffee bar drinking your coffee, of course the table would be higher, but you kind of lean back like this. And you sort of, you're leaning back, and I can't do it because the table here is too low. And you put your wrist on the table and you twirl your cigarette box like this. And the ones that are really good, they can get this spinning forever, really, really fast, faster than you can see. It's all a blur. So I decided I'm going to learn how to twirl my cigarette boxes. And I'm going to do this every time I'm smoking in public, so that wherever I am in the world, if there's anyone from Kosovo, they'll know that I'm from Kosovo too.